Hey everybody, welcome into Faith and Football. My name is Neil, and guys, we are here. We are prepping for week 5, start sit. That's what we're going to be talking about today, along with the dreaded bye week starting. Yes, the bye weeks are here, and we're going to be talking about the injuries that happened for week 4 and how you're going to deal with them going into week 5. But before we do that, guys, as always, and with everything, I ask that you put God first. So that's what we do here at Faith and Football. We put our faith and our Lord first before anything else. So, guys, today's scripture, we're talking about injuries on this episode. And with that, I figured we'd talk about the healing that Jesus did while he was on the earth and bring something to the forefront that I feel kind of gets pushed to the background, not really talked about a whole lot. And we find the scripture for today, Mark chapter 2, verse 17, where it says, this is after, Jesus was being criticized by people for eating a meal with tax collectors and sinners and people of questionable character. And the Pharisees were the ones that were questioning him. And he said this. He said, when Jesus heard this, he told them, healthy people don't need a doctor. Sick people do. I have come to call not those who think they are righteous, but those who know they are sinners. And what a comfort that is for us, because in Romans it tells us, for all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. That means all of us, everyone. It doesn't matter who you are, what your status is, whether you're homeless or the head of a major corporation. We've all sinned. The ground is level before the cross. It doesn't matter what sin you've committed, you can be forgiven for it all. And the good thing is, as we look at some of the healings that Jesus did in the Bible, if you'll notice, they never came to him. Most of the time, he went to them. Now, there were times that they sought him out, but Jesus went to these people, like the woman at the well. The woman at the well in John chapter 4, verses 2 through 42. I encourage you to go read that story. This is probably, if I'm not mistaken, the longest recorded conversation between Jesus and someone else. And not only was it a Samaritan woman who had a major problem with the Jews and the Samaritans did not get along, but it was a woman talking to a Jewish rabbi. That just didn't happen. Okay. So for this to be the longest recorded conversation in the Bible is something of significance to pay attention to. But he, there wasn't anything physically wrong with her, but there was something emotionally wrong with her that he healed. That because he showed grace and mercy and forgiveness for what she had done, for the life that she had lived, you know, that goes a long way. I mean, we're told in the Bible to be like Christ. So, what has somebody done to you? What has somebody wronged you about that you can take an opportunity and forgive them for it? Mend that fence. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't set a barrier, that you don't set a, a boundary to where that person isn't allowed to do that to you again. And that's totally healthy. But to carry that weight is unhealthy. And to carry the weight that this woman was carrying and to be shunned by her community, which that's why she was going to the well at that time, was because she was shunned. She was a promiscuous woman, let's say. And Jesus forgave her for that. And if we look at the man at the pool of Bethesda, in John chapter 5, just of one chapter later, verses 2 through 9. You know, he couldn't go looking for Jesus. Okay. He was laid out on a mat for 38 years, but yet Jesus went and searched for him the same way he goes and searches for us. He's looking for us to come back to him. And we're out here looking for all kinds of things that won't fill the hole that we have within us. See, ever since the original sin, man has been missing that relationship that he was created to have with God. And the only way to get that back is to fill it with God. God was is what's supposed to be there. God is what's missing. So, when we try to fill that thing with work, with prosperity, with drugs, alcohol, and you notice I said work and prosperity, like those are things that people don't normally associate with trying to fill that hole. So, you know, sorry about that, guys. Had a little environmental interruption, if you will. My son is back from his job, so he was passing through. But uh, but anyway, but yeah. So, like I was saying, prosperity and accomplishments, money, things like that. People don't normally associate that with something that needs to be healed. They think that, hey, it's perfectly fine and there's nothing wrong with it as long as it's kept in context. But when you start to try to fill the hole that is left by the absence of a relationship with God, with things that aren't supposed to be there, that's when we run into problems. So I want you to remember as we move forward and as we go into our week that God will meet you where you're at. He doesn't ask you to get things right, to stop doing what you're doing and come to Him. Like, it's perfectly okay to carry that guilt and that shame that you had to Him. He already knows about it. It's okay to, you know, be in the club on Saturday night and be in church Sunday morning. Now, the problem with that comes when you're continually doing that because that shows no remorse. And my cat is absolutely going nuts, so I'll be right back. This is just some of the things that the enemy is trying to dissuade me from sharing with you guys. So I want you all to recognize when the attacks of the enemy come, it can come as small things, it can come as small interruptions. But the enemy wants you to think that that shame and that guilt from what you did on Friday and Saturday night prevents you from coming to the Lord on Sunday morning or whenever you want to come to Him. There is no set time to come to Jesus. You can come to Him whenever you want, however you are, in whatever state you are. Now, you might see people with tattoos and crazy haircuts and things like that and think, oh man, there's no way that they're Christian. But here's the thing, what you don't know about that person is that their appearance now reflects where they came from. It doesn't reflect the internal. It doesn't reflect who they've given their life to. See, I'm tatted and I'm serving the Lord. I've been in trouble, but I'm serving the Lord. I still struggle with my temper, but I'm still serving the Lord. I still have to get out of bed every morning and make a conscious decision to not follow the ways of the world, to follow the Lord, to pick up my Bible, to open up my app. This was the same app that I would watch the P Word on back in the day because I had that struggle. I had that addiction. But by the grace of God, it has been removed. I've been given victory over these things. You can too. The same way that Jesus healed the woman at the well emotionally, he can heal you. The same way that he healed the man at the pool physically, he can heal you. All we have to do is come to him. We can search him out. But I want you to remember, just like the father in the prodigal son, the father saw his son coming a ways off. Now, here's the thing. If he had to be looking for his son, he had to be watching for him to return in order to see him afar off. He wasn't busy doing other things. He was concerned about that lost son. If it was a daughter, he would have been concerned about that lost daughter. So regardless of whether you're a son or a daughter, it doesn't matter. Jesus is still looking for you to return to the Father. So I hope that that's comforting for you today. I hope that that gives you some, as they say in Louisiana, some envie, some get up and go to go and search out God, to fill that hole that you've been trying to fill with so many other things. So, not saying that Jesus is going to heal your fantasy league if you've been suffering injuries this week, but he can heal that hole that's inside of you. So, guys, I want you to remember our verse, Mark chapter 2, verse 17. Healthy people don't need a doctor. Sick people do. I have come to call not those who think they are righteous, but those who know they are sinners. Guys, we know we're sinners. We know we've done wrong. But remember, God has called you. If you're righteous and you already know God, great. That's awesome. Go help somebody else find what you found. That is the Great Commission, and that's why I'm here. So, hope that was uplifting for you guys. And before we get into this week's topic on the football side of things, y'all know what time it is. It's time to talk about our sponsors, Zia Rotisserie Grill, down at 235 Ducey Road off of Johnson Street in Lafayette, Louisiana. Guys, if you're in the area, you're hungry, go stop by. They're under construction right now, but don't let that fool you. They're still open and still serving some amazing food with some amazing people that work there. Go in, you tell them that you heard about them from Faith in Football, and you can pick up any free appetizer you want. You can get the ribs. You want some shrimp? I get you there too because they have an Asian almond shrimp. It comes in 3 or 6 count. Depends on how hungry you are, how many people you're with. You get one free appetizer for the table. Maybe it's you want some deep fried cauliflower. Yes, they're deep frying some veggies. They have Kung Pao cauliflower. It's absolutely off the chain. Go down there and check them out. You want something that can a little more shareable? That's great. They have the hummus for you. Voted some of the best hummus in the city. Go down there and check them out and decide for yourself. But make sure that you mention you heard about them from Faith in Football and pick it up for free. Why pay for it if it's free? Come on, guys. Trying to help you out. Now, if you're in the area and you need some catering done, make sure you give them a call, 337-406-0013. Talk to Andy or whoever is going to pick up the phone, and they will help you out with whatever catering you need. Also, if you want it at their place, they have a back room that's absolutely phenomenal. I got a little short on the channel right now. If you go down there and subscribe to the channel, go find it. It's a short, shows you the back room, shows you what it looks like. It's absolutely amazing setup. Call them up, hook it up, and if you want it done at your place, they get you there too. No problem. They will send you some great food with some amazing people to help you serve it, or they'll just drop it off for you, however you want to do it. Because yes is the answer, what is the question when it comes to catering at Zia? Make sure you go down and check them out. 235 Duce Road off of Johnson Street. Make sure you mention Faith in Football and pick up your free appetizer. And let's not forget my sweetest sponsor, Keller's Bakery in Youngsville, down at 627 Lafayette Street in Youngsville, Louisiana. You go down there, you tell them that you heard about them from me, Faith in Football, and you pick up 2 free cookies with no purchase necessary. Guys, this is an absolutely amazing deal. Go down there, just tell them you heard about them from me, pick up your freebie, and look, if you got a little get together, you're doing Thursday night football watch party, you're doing Sunday, tailgate or whatever at your house, they got you hooked up with a king cake. Yes, king cake, but not in king cake season. Your team colors, whatever you want, maybe even, I hate to say it, but they'll even do Dallas. Might charge a little more, but they'll do it for you. Go down there, see my buddy Dusty at Keller's Bakery in Youngsville. Mention Faith in Football, pick up your 2 free cookies. And if you're in the Lafayette, Louisiana area, you're downtown, check out 603 Jefferson Street inside of Gordon Square is where Ami's Groceries is. You can find them there. They're doing absolutely amazing things in the kitchen. You need a little something to munch on while you're downtown, or maybe you forgot something for dinner. Hey, I spaced. I didn't stop by the store and pick up anything. I don't feel like cooking, whatever the case may be. They got you hooked up with some family meals in their freezer section. And on top of that, these guys are great supporters of the local economy with over 200 different items from over 50 different local vendors, everything from farm fresh eggs to freeze dried candy and in between. They got you some homemade beef jerky. Absolutely amazing. Go down there and check them out. Omni's Grocery. It's 603 Jefferson Street inside Gordon Square. And you guys like cut? You notice I haven't been wearing a hat. That's because my boy Nick Reed hooked me up at C Wolf Barbershop at 135A Arnold Boulevard in Lafayette. You guys want to go down there and check out Nick? Go on Booksy and search for Nick Reed. You'll find him at C Wolf Barbershop in Lafayette, 135A Arnold Boulevard. Go down and check him out. And hey, if you don't like this guy, get one that you like. He will hook you up, and this guy won't let you out of the chair unless every single hair is where it's supposed to be. So let's get into this week's start sit. And I just had a notification. Okay, I'm gonna put the glasses on for this one, guys. I got a notification. And apparently, Shedeur Sanders is not happy um, that he is still QB3 on the depth chart because Dylan Gabriel is going to be getting the start over Joey Flacco. So, I was going to try to save this a little bit later, but with having this information pop up, let's go ahead and discuss it. Um, so the Browns, awesome defense, absolutely shut down defense as of late, but their offense has been sputtering. So apparently, in hopes that they're going to try to, you know, perk it up a little bit, they're putting in Dylan Gabriel. So what does this mean? This means that if you got Jerry Jeudy, this is a definite wait and see on how and who Dylan Gabriel goes ahead and bonds with, who he has chemistry with. So check this out. Isaiah Bond is a name that you guys need to know. I know waivers already passed. Maybe he slipped through. Maybe you looked at it and went, who's this guy? This is the rookie that was unsigned after the draft. And this guy, really good profile coming out of college. I'm not exactly sure about why he fell. I think there were some legal matters that he was dealing with, but apparently everything is fine and dandy, and he is with the Browns. So with Jerry Jeudy not being all of that, and Cedric Tillman being hurt, which we'll talk about that in just a second, uh, this is a case where if you can't get Jerry Jeudy, if you don't trust Jerry Jeudy, which is the case with some people, then Isaiah Bond, look, rookie and rookie. These are the guys that they usually gravitate to. I like Ali Manor with Tennessee, has been gelling a little more with Cam Ward than um, than Calvin Ridley. So you never know. So let's go ahead and we'll get into the injuries here real quick. QB Lamar Jackson dealing with a hamstring injury. This is something you guys need to keep an eye on because here's the thing. If they don't want, now, I don't know about you guys, but last game, even before the injury, something just looked a little off. But Lamar's hurt. He's got a strain. And I think that if the Ravens are smart about this, they have a bye coming up week 7. So that means that this week and next week, they could go in and put in Cooper Rush. Now, this is a blast from the past because we saw what Cooper Rush did last year for Dallas in relief of Dak Prescott. This guy is a legit quarterback in the NFL. Maybe not starter quality, but definitely an extremely serviceable backup. So, with him coming in, if you have Zay Flowers, this is a guy to pay attention to. Also, if you've got Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, all the pass catching options are definitely going to be in play with Cooper Rush. I mean, we saw what he did with CeeDee Lamb in Dallas. So he was legit. Okay. So him being in relief, I believe that the Ravens are smart enough to give Lamar the rest. Let him rest this week, next week, and then you got the bye, and then he comes back fresh and renewed for week 8. So, something to think about. And if you've got Lamar Jackson, hopefully you have a backup. Um, Next up, Braylon Allen left with the MCL sprain, potentially more serious. He's going to be out multiple weeks. Now, this is important for not just Breece Hall, who is probably going to get even more work than what he's been getting, which is great for those who own Breece Hall, which is not me. Unfortunately, I've been trying to get him. I just don't really want to pay up for him, if you know what I mean. So, um, but also Isaiah Davis is a name to keep an eye on because if Braylon Allen is out, Isaiah Davis has seen work in the past and he has been efficient in it. So something to keep an eye on. Now, another backup that could carry a huge workload if his starter went down was Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders left with a right ankle injury. He's questionable for week 5. So Jaden Blue, I was talking about this guy in preseason. I loved his profile. This guy reminded me of Rico Dowdle, who left, Tony Pollard, who left the Big D. And with him being behind Javonte Williams, if something happens to Javonte and he goes down, then Jaden Blue is next man up. And look, I'm just been waiting to be proven right about Jaden Blue, the same way I was proven right about Tony Pollard, the same way I was proven right about Rico Dowdle, how these guys are legit running backs if given the opportunity and the right environment. Okay. These guys are talented. They can handle a workload. Now, here's a big one. Bucky Irving, this undisclosed injury. We're waiting for more details to show up, so keep an eye on your injury report. But he is questionable for week 5. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people, and I'm getting this from the ballers, and before I go any farther, all of this injury news is coming from Matthew Betts. So if you don't follow Matthew Betts, I encourage you strongly. If you're playing fantasy football, you need to be hooked in to some kind of injury analysis, and Matthew Betts is one of the top guys that I follow. So check out him. Adam Schefter is another one. Adam Schefter, NFL Insider. This guy comes out with stuff before it's even out. Okay, if you know what I mean. This dude is plugged in. Matthew Betts does awesome injury analysis. And if you're not a member of the Foot Clan, I encourage you go to jointhefoot.com and contribute to the show just the way I did. It's actually my every birthday or every Father's Day present, this is what I get. I get a subscription to the Ballers. So, but Rachaad White is a guy who uh, is going to be on everyone's top list to replace Bucky Irving. But the other name that you guys need to be aware of is Sean Tucker. This dude, we haven't seen a whole lot of him because he's been buried by Bucky. He's been buried by Rachaad White. But with Bucky being down, if Sean Tucker can get in and pop off, we've seen it happen already this year with a couple of running backs. Woody Marks is one that springs to mind. He got a chance. He outplayed Nick Chubb and has won the starting job in Houston. And he is probably he should have been already picked up before this week. But if I'll tell you right now, he's probably not on your roster or not on your waiver wire. He should be on someone's roster right now. That's Woody Marks. But Sean Tucker is another one that if you have the room at the back end of your roster, go throw this guy on. He is definitely somebody that you want to be aware of. Now, I talked about this one a little bit last episode, and that is Malik Neighbors, torn right ACL, out for the year. He is done. So this is going to not only affect, of course, Jackson Dart, the new quarterback for the Giants, the rookie quarterback for the Giants, but a lot of people are going off on Wan'Dale Robinson. Now, me personally, I do agree with the Ballers on this one, where it should be Slayton. So Darius Slayton, if you don't have him on your roster and you need some wide receiver help, go check him out. Okay, because Wan'Dale Robinson, yes, he's great on these PPR plays, but for consistent production, Darius Slayton is the guy to have. Now, this one happened Monday night, and I recorded my show before the Monday night games to have it out for you guys on Tuesday. And I said that I would cover any injuries that happened in the Monday night game, not thinking that this one would be as catastrophic as it was. And that is Tyreek Hill, left knee dislocation. He is done for the year, possibly his career. There had been rumors about him being traded at or near the deadline back to KC, which would have been amazing. But with this injury, he's not playing for anyone anytime soon, and it's probably the last time you're going to see him in a Dolphins uniform. So the guys said this one's going to involve, you got Tua, who right now will knock on wood and say a couple of prayers, has not been dinged up this year, has not left with a concussion. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Zach Wilson is the backup quarterback. So even if Tua does leave, I've got all confidence that Zach Wilson can be serviceable for fantasy football as far as supporting at least one fantasy option. Now, what does this do to Jalen Waddle? Well, this shoots him straight up to wide receiver one, gives him all the workload. However, we did see this past weekend that the Walrus, Darren Waller, is back in football, and this dude is scoring touchdowns. Like, what? I myself just spent a whole lot of fab to make sure that this guy was on my roster. I think I outbid everybody by at least $12. For those of you who don't deal with fab, it's basically make-believe money that you get to bid on free agents, and whoever bids the most wins. So I won the Darren Waller contest or lottery for at least 4 of the 6 leagues that I'm in. Um, The other ones are just waiver priority, and I think I went and picked him up because he slid by. But those are dynasty leagues, so nobody's gonna wanting Darren Waller for a dynasty league. I mean, he's like 32 or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, um, but yeah, Darren Waller definitely going to be getting more work. Now, A-Chain is going to be getting probably a little more work as well. However, here's the thing. Not only do you have A-Chain, Waddle, Waller, but a little two guys I want y'all to keep an eye on. Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, and if that name sounds familiar, it should, because this guy was Mr. Touchdown for Tennessee last year. This dude caught one pass, one touchdown. That's how it worked. But his touchdowns were like 70-yard touchdowns. It was nuts. Dude have like 0 points going into the fourth quarter. He would catch one pass, one touchdown, 70 yards, and have like 15 points at the end of the game. It was nuts. But you couldn't depend on it. Now, having he's on Miami. You may have forgotten about him, but him and uh, Malik Washington. So these two guys, please go check your waiver wire. If you need wide receiver help, maybe you lost Malik Neighbors, maybe you lost Tyreek Hill, maybe you're like a buddy of mine and you lost both of them in the same week, and that's crushing. So this is some names that you want to be aware of to kind of fill in the gaps. Okay. Darnell Mooney, this one kind of hits it a little close to home because I've got him in a couple of leagues. I did like his profile going into the year. But he is questionable for week 6. And I know, hold on, I know we're talking week 5, but they're on a bye. And I'll get to the byes in a second, but Atlanta's on a bye. So Darnell Mooney questionable for week 6. That means it is a serious hamstring injury. So um, now next wide receivers just dropping like flies, guys. Cedric Tillman, I spoke about him a little bit earlier when talking about Isaiah Bond, but he is out at least 2 weeks with a hamstring strain. So while Isaiah Bond might look like a short-term fix once Tillman comes back, look, I think this kid Bond is better than Tillman, can be more productive than Tillman. So if you got the ability to go get Bond, go get him. Bond, Isaiah Bond. Remember the name, okay? Um, and of course, Jerry Judy and Dylan Gabriel. Now, next up, a pair of wide receivers from the same team. And when I say the same team, talking about an injury report, I can be talking about nobody else but the San Francisco 49ers, who need to change their logo from the San Fran to the Red Cross, because everybody on this team, except for CMC, is just getting dinged up left and right. So we're talking about Ricky Pearsall and Jauan Jennings. Pearsall is going to be likely out for week 6, and Jennings is going to be questionable. Pearsall is dealing with a PCL strain and a rib injury. And then Jennings is dealing with a rib injury. Okay. Now, here's the thing. This is going to impact, of course, Brock Purdy. We've got Kendrick Bourne out there, and CMC is probably going to see an uptick in work. However, a name that you guys might not remember that used to play for the Rams. We saw him being used like all the time with the Rams, and he was very good in production, and that's Demarcus Robinson. I've got him on my team. Made sure I went out and got him as soon as I heard this news, because I also have Ricky Pearsall, who I traded for. But Demarcus Robinson can easily step in here. And with this many pass catching options down, honestly, who else do they have to throw to? I mean, they can't throw every single pass to CMC. They've got to spread the ball around at least a little bit. So this is somebody to keep an eye on. Also, another wide receiver. I know, guys, wide receivers are dropping like flies. If you've got a stockpile of wide receivers, count yourself blessed. Calvin Austin dealing with a shoulder injury. I think I just dealt him, but or drop. I might have just dropped him. I don't remember. I get sick leagues to take care of, guys. So, but he is also going to be questionable for week 6. Um, Now here's a couple of injury notes. Um, is Joe Mixon. He remains on the NFI, which is non-football injury list, with a foot injury. And speaking to head coach DeMarco Ryans, he indicated that Mixon is not ready to return to the field. Um, but if they've got Woody Marks performing like he is, then no worries. Another guy who is hopefully returning this week, Terry McLaurin. They're saying that he does have a chance to return for week 5. And my boy, my other boy, because Terry is my boy, Scary Terry. Love you to death, dude. Um, Jaden Daniels, it does have a decent, quote, decent chance to start this week. Now, good thing is that we got Marcus Mariota as a backup. Totally fine. I'm cool with it. I'm losing to Atlanta. I was fine with it. I mean, I'm not really fine with it, but they performed admirably. Let's put it that way. Next up, we got JJ McCarthy. Uh, I don't see him making his way back anytime soon. I don't think they're calling it a high ankle sprain. Um, but as long as their O-line is dealing with injuries, I don't see them putting the future of their franchise with JJ McCarthy in any more jeopardy than Carson Wentz becomes the sacrificial lamb, and he's just going to continue to get destroyed, continue to throw interceptions, continue to take sacks. So anybody playing the Minnesota Vikings, if you're playing a league that has a defense in it, if you see a defense going up against Minnesota, please go ahead and start them. Next up, another return we have, or a possible return, Tajay Spears. Now, what does this mean? This means that Tony Pollard is somebody that you might want to keep an eye on. I know that, look, the split last year was not what they wanted it to be. It was all Tony Pollard, very little Tajay Spears. Um, CeeDee Lamb, uh, he won't play week 5, but he does have a chance to make it back for week 6. So the absence of CeeDee Lamb might not be that long endured for the Cowboys. George Kittle, he injured his hamstring back in week 1. Um, he is eligible to return to the field in week 6. So we'll keep an eye on that progression as well. Now, as far as the buys this week, we got the Packers, Chicago, Atlanta, and the Steelers all on bye. A lot of heavy hitters. Romeo Dobbs just had a blow-up game for the Packers. He's on a bye. Of course, Josh Jacobs, Jordan Love, all those guys. Um, Williams, quarterback for Chicago, he's on bye. Of course, the Doomsday, DJ Moore, all those guys. Atlanta, you're losing Bijan, Kyle Pitts if you were relying on him for anything. Michael Penix, and of course Drake London. So those guys all on a bye, along with Pittsburgh and DK Metcalf and Aaron Rodgers, along with Jalen Warren. So anybody who, oh, and I think we talked about it, but Jalen Warren is hurt, but well, was hurt, and Kenny Gainwell just ran over everybody in Ireland. And I think he ran over a couple of leprechauns too, but Gainwell just popped off. This just goes to show that the O line for the Pittsburgh Steelers can handle anybody behind it. And maybe Jalen Warren isn't as valuable as you might have thought when you've got somebody like that can pop off behind them. So something to keep an eye on. So real quick, let's go and get into the sits, and we'll go ahead and end this on a positive note with the starts. My two sit quarterbacks of the week, we got Trevor Lawrence going up against KC. Look, it looks like KC's defense is legit, guys. Okay. Not gonna lie. Trevor Lawrence is not what we thought Liam Cohen is not doing what we thought he could do. He's not doing what he did with Baker in Tampa last year. Now, is that reflective of the coach or reflective of the player or a little bit of both? TBD for me personally right now, but I'm not relying on Trevor Lawrence going up against KC. Now, I did mention my boy coming back. Possibly, if he's back, he's going up against the Chargers. This is a team I will not want to roll Jaden Daniels out in with him being a mobile quarterback and going up against that defense. That's just something I'm not willing to do. If you've been able to survive with him on the bench for the last couple of weeks, you can survive one more. If he blows up on your bench, fine, great. Confidence for starting next week, all wheels up, good to go. But I'm not going to put my win or loss on this week on whether or not Jaden did. Because hey, look, Jaden can get in there, start running around, get some soreness, and they pull him because they know that Mariota can fill in. I want to see him come out and go a whole game and not have any injury, no hindrance whatsoever. If he goes out and lays an egg, cool. I'm fine with that on my bench. He goes out and blows up, cool. I'm fine with that on my bench. But don't risk having Jaden Daniels in your lineup when you've got better options. Well, you've got different options available to you. Okay. Next up, Jordan Mason. Now, I love Jordan Mason. He saved my bacon last year because I picked him up right before week one started. And I don't know if you guys remember me saying or not, but I tied week one last week. And in our league, bench points breaks ties. And because Jordan Mason blew up the way he did on my bench, I won. So I love Jordan Mason, don't get me wrong, but they're going up against the Browns. Guys, Cleveland has shut down Derrick Henry and Josh Jacobs. These are like two of the top running backs in the league. There's no way that I'm rolling out Jordan Mason against the Browns. Next up, Javonte Williams. Guys, this is against the Jets. The Jets front four is legit. So I'm looking for possibly another breakout for the boys in Dallas through the air. Now, they're going to have to do it without CD. So you're talking George Pickens, who we saw against the Packers in that tie game on Sunday Night Football. Uh, he can definitely get the job done. So another player that was hurt was a late notification. Devontae Turpin was not seen at practice, so keep an eye on that injury if you went out and picked up Turpin. Okay. As far as wide receivers look, I know that it's rough in the streets with wide receivers, with everybody going down and getting hurt. You may be forced to play some of these guys, but Tyquan Thornton going up against the Ravens. Look, Xavier Worthy is back. We all know that Mahomes, he will spread the ball around a lot, but with the usage that Worthy had last week, this week, let me double check this real quick, guys. Sorry. You guys, I think I'm going to call this the pause episode because I've had to pause this at least three times. Sorry about that. It's not Tyquan Thornton. I was looking at week 4 when I wrote that down, but it's going to be BTJ going against KC. I had my team mixed up a little bit there, but BTJ, Brian Thomas Jr. Look, we haven't seen good things out of BTJ yet, and with him going up against KC, we're not sure about Trevor Lawrence. Let me see something before you start. It's the same idea with Jaden Daniels with benching him. The decision to bench Brian Thomas Jr. Look, I know it's hard. I know you might have to play him, but if you have better options, check out your lineup and please make sure that your lineup is matchup dependent. Remember, one thing that I preach here all the time is environmental roster management. Look at the environment surrounding the player. That includes the matchup that they're going up against this week. Okay, guys. Now, the next guy, Ladd McConkey. Look, ever since the breakout of Quentin Johnson and the addition of Keenan Allen in with the Chargers, make sure that you please limit your expectations for Ladd McConkey. They're going up against Washington. Okay. Washington's defense is no joke. All right. Ladd McConkey has not been doing well again. If he pops off, he pops off. But the way that they've been using Huge, the way that they discovered Mario Hampton, the way that they've been using Keenan Allen, it kind of leaves Ladd as the odd man out in this one. So, something to consider going into this week. Now, let's go ahead and get started with some positives here. Who am I starting? Well, for starters, quarterback Justin Fields going up against Dallas. Look, last week, Jordan Love put up 32 points. Yeah, I think it was right. Yeah, 32 points against Dallas. Their defense is horrible, absolutely atrocious. Justin Fields not only has a cheat code with running, but he's got a really, really good wide receiver. Maybe you've heard of him, Garrett Wilson. Guys, this combo right here, in the addition of Breece Hall in the passing game, this is going to be unstoppable. This could get ugly quick because Dallas is not going to be playing with the same emotion that they faced the Packers with. This could be a letdown game, okay? I get that they were like happy with the time. We perform, our offense performed well, da 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 da. That's great. That's great locker room talk. That's great for the post-conference, the post-game conference or press conference. But guys, they're going up against the Jets. Guys, come on. And so, next up, Jared Goff versus Cincinnati. Look, last week, if I'm not mistaken, Bo Nick, I'm getting buku notifications right now. But anyway, Bo Nix scores 29 points against Cincinnati. This is going to be ugly. Okay. They're going to be running the ball. They're going to be early, they'll probably be throwing the ball. So Jared Goff, I know he was a disappointment last week, but this week gets the best thing you can get after having a rough week is getting Cincinnati. Okay. Next up, running back, Woody Marks. Yes, rookie running back Woody Marks with the Houston Texans going up against the Ravens. Last week scored 27 points. 27 for a running back. Guys, that's next level. That's elite. Okay. Next up for that one. This one I had to change up because I had Trey Benson going up against the Titans, who Woody Marks had put up 27 points against. But Trey Benson has just officially been placed on IR. I kind of held that back from the injury report because I wanted to talk about it here. But Trey Benson out at least a month. So that means Emari Demercado, guys, if you don't have him on your roster, go get him on your roster, but he's still available if he slipped through waivers. So he's going up against the Titans. Emari Demercado is definitely a name you guys need to know and you need to have on your bench. Or in this case, in your starting lineup. Next up, I touched on this guy real quick. Alec Iomaner going up against Arizona. He is the rookie wide receiver for the Tennessee Titans. They're gonna have to air it out, and who better to air it out against than Arizona? Next up, talked about this guy a little bit in the injury report, but with Pearsall being out, with Jennings being out, with Kittle still being on IR, then Demarcus Robinson going up against the Rams is my wide receiver star of the week. Look, this is basically a revenge game if you want to play that narrative, but it's also the only option in town. Okay. So Demarcus Robinson, get him in your lineup. Go ahead and start him. I know right now, Sleeper has him scoring like 3 points. But with the news that Pearsall and Jennings probably won't be available for this game, guys, Demarcus Robinson is definitely somebody you can plug in and play if you need to at wide receiver. So that's going to do it. I've got like so many notifications to go review and look at. Plus, I got to go wash dishes. So, and that's all before I go to work, guys. Busy, busy, busy. Told you I don't get paid to do this. I wish I did. So if anybody out there is looking for an analyst, hey, here's you holla at your boy. All right. But anyway, guys, it's been great. I appreciate y'all tuning in and listening to me. Down below, subscribe, like, share, all that kind of good stuff. Have a blessed week. I hope that everybody on your roster stays safe, as well as you and everyone in your family stays safe and comes a little closer to God. Remember, God doesn't care what you look like. He cares where you are. Are you with him? Are you close to him? Are you working toward a relationship with him? That's what he cares about. Okay. He wants the sick. He wants the hurting. He wants the pain. He can take it. We can't. So, guys, until next time, y'all stay blessed, stay read up, stay informed, and remember, football is good, but God is greater. We'll see you guys next time on Faith and Football. God bless.